Okay, so hi and welcome to our episode 3 of our podcast. It's great to have you here with us again. And we're very, very excited. Michael and I are very excited to be here with you today. Um, as you know, we are intuitive guides and we're here to share higher wisdom with you about various topics that we're guided to share. And this week, we have been guided to share the topic of shifting perspectives from the lower frequencies and timelines of the 4D up to the fifth dimension and beyond. And this is something that both Michael and I are very excited about because this is a passion of ours. This is why we do this podcast. And we've got some amazing stuff to share with you. So before we do, Michael, would you like to explain what just happened before we tried to record this podcast?
Yeah, obviously the dark forces trying to stop us from spreading these light messages out to everybody, because they know how important it is. So as we were setting up and as we were just about to press record, I had a knock at the door. Two people in high vis vests were at the door. Quite clearly, they should be able to see us through the window. I had the window open and I was quite visible to them. They were completely oblivious to us. They didn't see me at all. They knocked on the door a few times, and then I walked towards to have a look. They couldn't see me, I could see them, and then they just walked off. So obviously a glitch in the matrix there that we're experiencing, where they're trying to stop us getting this broadcast out because it's going to be a super powerful broadcast. They're aware of it, and they're crumbling, and they're still trying these little things where they send agents sometimes to try and prevent you from getting certain messages across to people who need it most. So I've got a feeling this is going to be a particularly good broadcast when they do that. And what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we don't allow that to affect us in any way and doesn't bring our energy down, which is what's being attempted to happen there. And with it, what we can actually do is rise higher, and we can help a lot of people. So if anyone else is experiencing this, where sometimes you feel that you're going to be doing something important and meaningful, and somehow your life's interrupted in some way, then this is for you. This is for you. This is what we would recommend you to do as intuitive guides. And yeah, Katie, it was an incredible experience, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I could feel the energy of what had been created as a result of that situation, even though I'm here sat on the other side of England. So I could feel energetically what was going on in my body, and it was very intense energy. It was very disruptive energy I could feel in my solar plexus, and so I knew that we needed to clear it. So I sing and I write songs, and Michael is a gifted singer, and he's learnt a lot of amazing chants with monks in Thailand and other places. And so we both blitzed the energy. We basically cleared this horrible energy with our voices, because the human voice, from what I understand, is one of the highest frequencies in the universe. It has the power to clear very dark, dense energies, and it's just amazing. So we knew this, so we both just did a bit of energy clearing work in preparation to do the recording, because we knew that would be the best way to receive the highest and to have the best outcome for this recording. So we just did some singing, and we may share some more a bit later in the show today. Yeah, we definitely feel much more ready to do this, don't we, Michael?
I know, what an experience already.
Yeah.
And yeah, we absolutely do. And it's so interesting, and it's so important as well for you to have something which recenters you again. When you get knocked, when your energy is attempted to be hijacked as it was there, it's so important to have some kind of chant or some kind of energy that you can put into something. It may be some skill that you have. It could be singing, or it could be dancing, or it could be doing something quite expressive with your energy, which can just stop that lower energy from affecting you in any way, because that's how they do it. That's how they control certain situations, and that's how they try and bring you down, so that you're not getting certain messages broadcast out there that they know is coming. Now, It's happened in numerous times that they send agents to try and disrupt it. All it is just a glitch in the matrix, where they're trying to send somebody to disrupt your energy, and all you're seeing there is a physical representation of what's really happening on an energetic level or a spiritual level. So it's important to clear it, and it's important to not give it any attention. See, if I had then went and focused on what was happening there and completely forgot about what we were doing here, we wouldn't be doing this broadcast now. We wouldn't be doing the recording. So it's so important to not give it your attention, not give it your focus, and focus on what you want to achieve and focus on what you want the outcome to be. But as Katie was saying, it's so important to have some kind of song that maybe that you've got, or a chant that just helps you raise your vibration and raises your energy that much more, you know. And we do have those. We have those. We're very lucky to have those. But if you haven't got one, it's best to have a little so inside guidance, so where you're kind of meditating, and you may get some intuition, or you may get some kind of guidance to do your own song, which would be awesome. I mean, I've been extremely fortunate being around the monks in Thailand in the meditation retreats, and also with nuns teaching me all of these things. So really, really fortunate, and I understand that. But honestly, anybody can do it. Anybody can shift that energy. When it comes in and you feel it, don't allow it to absorb you. Don't allow it to take you down. Instead, change it to something that you enjoy. Change it to something which creates love and creates a spark of creative energy and happiness. And what you'll see is that energy will just not stay around, because you're not giving it your focus, you're not giving it your time. And you can change that completely around so that so that it goes and it doesn't actually interfere with anything, you know. So I mean, we do have a few songs. Katie, do you want to do one of your songs first of all, and then I'll do mine as well? Just tell them, because I think it's important that people have an idea of what we mean by this. It's best to do a practical example, I think, for them, and then what they can do is they can either follow our kind of lead or our guidance, or they can do their own, which I think is important, to have your own something that resonates with you as well, but connects you on a whole level with everyone, with the one collective consciousness.
Okay, sure. So Shrima Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Om Shrima Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Om Shrima Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Om Shrima Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Om. There's one.
Wow, that was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And you can either do it where you just bring in any sort of energy, any feeling that you want to like kind of let out, so that you're letting go of something, and you're letting that bad energy leave you. So you can do it that way, and you can do it intuitively, and you can do it just as it comes to you. Or there's certain chants and certain things that you can practice, and you can learn them, and you can feel the energy shift. So hopefully once I start this, you'll feel that energy shift. You know, if you've got any bad energy in the room at the moment, you're going to feel it shift very quickly by listening to this. You're going to see, and it's going to be something that you can learn as well. You can replay this message over and over again. It's something that'll move any bad energy away from you, and it'll only leave good, loving, harmony energy. Okay, so what I would suggest is to maybe write this down if you want as well, just to go through how it goes, and also the rhythm of how it does it. And also you'll see that as I'm singing it, it tunes your voice in at the same time, and also it raises your vibration. You'll see the vibration shift. Everything around you will move into a higher vibration as you're listening to this. Okay, so it's a very special chant. It's a very special tune. It's something that the monks in Thailand ranked very, very highly, and they did it every day. They also used different words as well towards it, so you can do any different words that you want, as long as it's in kind of tune the best that you can with your ability, and then you can go from there. And I'll also sing the English meaning to you as well, so that you understand what the words actually mean. Okay, so we go this. It goes Luli la lula Luli la lula Lila lula Lila lula. I love my heart and soul. I love all human hearts and souls together. Love, peace, and harmony. Luli la lula, luli la la lula, luli la luli la 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 li lula. Okay, so hopefully you felt that vibration shift, and honestly, it's amazing that it rises your vibration so high, and I love doing it. It's really good for your voice. It's really good to help your throat chakra as well, and to express things. And what I've noticed, the more that you do that, try and practice it every day, because the more that you do something like that, which resonates with you, the more you just speak out as well. I've noticed that as well. I don't hold back anything that I'm talking when I'm talking to people anymore now. I just speak my truth. And what you'll find is that you'll speak your truth as well, more and more by doing that. More and more by doing that. Okay, Katie, back over to you.
That was great, Michael. Wow. What's his name of that guy? Is it Alfie Boe? Like, move over, Alfie Boe. That the classical singer. It's awesome. It's a lovely chant. Honestly, it feels like it has a musical quality to it, you know, like from something from Sound of Music. It has that really uplifting, beautiful, innocent energy, which is really lovely. It's like heart opening, which is exactly what we need to be doing on the 5D timeline, right? That's how we step into our power and our truth, and how we live our best life is really through this sense of the heart being connected to our full expression and to our true selves. So so that was awesome. Thank you for sharing. So we've started with a very musical note on this particular podcast, but it's appropriate because actually the topic being shifting perspectives from lower timelines to the higher timeline. So this is really helpful. It demonstrates how you can do it. It demonstrates that it's actually pretty straightforward, and there are very practical, very immediate things you can do to be able to elevate your energy. It's interesting because when we were planning to do this podcast today, we always do a preparation just before, and we check in to see what the topic is that we're meant to be doing, which is exciting. It's like you get a gift on Christmas Day, you don't know what it's going to be. You're like, oh, what are we doing? What's the topic? And so then when we found out that it was going to be, you know, shifting perspectives, it was really interesting, and we started to get a bit of an insight into how that could be done and what types of things that would involve. And one of them was to actually be really the main topic, the main theme was kind of really stepping into the energies of peace and love and harmony and inner peace, and those being priorities for nurturing in yourself, because we live in a world where the 4D timeline has been completely scheduled for us. It's been created by other forces who are using black magic, basically the forces of the universe to benefit themselves, and they're trying to, and the only way that they can create from that place is to dominate. It's a dominant power creator timeline that they're involved in. And I was reading something from the Law of One last week that was talking about how the 4D timeline always, especially when it first kicks in, has this tyrannical energy to it. This has happened all over the universe. Whenever the 4D beings come in that are doing this, it brings in control, dominance, power paradigms, which is exactly what we're experiencing, and they happen really quickly and really intensively, and they intensify as part of this process. So it distracts you, it pulls you off course. You're externalized, you're responding to someone else's creation or what they want to create. You can actually forget that you are the creator of your own life, because there's so many images you're seeing, so much scary stuff, so much, oh, this is bad, oh, here's another bad thing to look at, here's another bad thing. It's like, you know, we know it's bad, so let's just carry on. So the important thing is that we need to be we need to be focusing on our inner worlds, our inner creative worlds and our spaces. And that's where the 5D is born. It's an inside out job, not an outside in job. And so the focus of shifting is really the power, and actually what we really want to do on this episode is to celebrate. This for us is like a woohoo party moment, because really the great news we have is that the 5D is here. The 5D crystalline grid has come in. It's now formed itself around the planet, within the planet. It's here. It's embodied, and it's really for us to just be like, oh, there's a switch. Oh, it's the 5D switch. We can just turn that on now, and then, oh, look, it's here, and actually choosing to be in it. And it's a state of being shift. It's an emotional inner change shift that's going on, and this is what's exciting, because we have complete control over this. This is actually amazing. We don't need to share on Telegram or anywhere else on social media that like the world is awful and it's going to hell in a handbasket. It's not, because we get to choose what world we live in. So that's what we're excited about for this episode. Basically, so it's really exciting for us, because this is what we're here for. This is what we're all here for. We're all here to be on the fifth dimensional timeline. That's why you're listening to this. That's why you've come to this podcast, and we're so excited to share this with you. And so, Michael, would you like to share a bit more about what you received about the grids that are coming in around the 5D, and how we know that we're literally there? Do you want to share a bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 5D crystalline grid is already formed all the way around the Earth. And what we've got to realize is we're already there. So it's already started. This process is already happening. So because a lot of people say, oh, when's 5D coming? And I get lots of messages in regards to it. And I say, it's actually already here. And it's important that everyone knows that shift, when we talk about shifts and shift in consciousness and shift in dimensions, it's already here. It's already here. You just need to see it. You need to open yourself up to see it, and you need to be able to have a look around you. And when you're in that energy space, you'll notice that it's already here. And there's so many things that'll tell you that it's already here as well. You can see colors in a much deeper way. You can see different insects and things like that. You'll see them all around the place as well. I noticed in Australia there was some little dragons that were on the tree, and that they've never been seen before. There's a lot of different ocean life and wildlife knocking around as well. So you'll notice that we already have started the 5D crystalline grid. The oceans are being cleared, the skies are being cleared from the chemtrails at last, thank God. But one thing that's really important to share as well is that magic works. Magic works, and the dark forces have known that magic works for a lot of years. And they've also tried through film and TV, newspapers, magazines, to try and tell everybody else that magic doesn't work, but it actually does. It really does. And what we need to realize is it's not just the dark forces who use this black magic, or magic to be able to do anything. You can actually use good magic. And what we're doing is we're using good magic to create our 5D dimension and reality. And it's important for people to realize that, because magic does work. It actually does work. You can practice it. It will work. You can do things such as telepathy as well. You can if you want someone to ring you in particular, you can actually get them to ring you now. And you'll notice that now we're in the 5D crystalline grids, all there, the energy's all there. You're going to notice some different skills that have come in now that you didn't used to have, and what you didn't feel that you had. Your energy is going to feel different in certain ways as well. And this is why we're so excited, Katie, because we're experiencing so many different things, and we don't even know what all of them are going to be. We're creating all these amazing new experiences and feelings and energy, and we don't know where it's going to take us. It could take us into some place that, it's completely unknown and we've never been before. And that's so exciting, to find out what that's going to be. And I can tell you that all beings all around the multiverse are watching. They want to know what's happening. And when you feel this destruction of the matrix, this destruction of the 3D, 4D grid, that's why the 5D grid is here. We're already there. Don't get yourself absorbed into the 3D, 4D timeline of energies or anything like that. Keep yourself focused on the 5D and what you want to create. Get yourself maybe a scrap piece of paper, and write down some things that you want to happen in your 5D life, and then let's focus on them and let's go about getting them. Things like law of attraction, affirmations, you'll find they're all super powerful right now. They're going to work much, much quicker than what they ever have done. So make sure every single day you've got your affirmations going, and make sure every single day that you're visualizing how you want your future to look and how you want this 5D reality to pan out as well. So it's super exciting, Katie. It really is.
Really is, absolutely, 100%. Thanks for explaining all that. Yeah, it's amazing the kind of information that that you can receive once you start opening up your intuition. We used to go to the TV for our information, didn't we? We used to go to books and teachers, and we would rely on external sources. But now we have a library within ourselves. We have the universal library. We can really tap into the truth of what's going on out there. And once you do that, you don't have any fear. You lose fear because you can't be controlled with fear. You have your own access to truth, and really that's the main thing, and that's your sovereign knowing, stepping into your true sovereign knowing, which is your self-reliance on self. It's amazing. That's where your power comes from. We've come from this really codependent culture of having to rely on other people and to understand things, and there's still value in that. We still need each other to learn from each other, so don't get me wrong, like everyone's serving each other, and that's actually the tribe mentality of the fifth dimension. So actually this is all really important, that we're all sharing and listening to each other. We have a hive mind we can tap into now, which you can see evidenced in a physical form on the internet. But really it's about our sovereign knowing and tapping into our intuition, which is just so empowering. And we haven't been encouraged to inculcate that in ourselves and to really allow the intuitive sense to come through. That's deliberately cut off very early in our lives, when we're children and being schooled, etc. But now we can tap into it again. It's so easy to access it, and it's so powerful. Our imaginations are so important. It's everything is the imagination and the intuitive world. That's really our multidimensional connection to ourself and to our source. So it's really about jumping into the magic, isn't it? It's jumping back into this multidimensional magical reality, which we always knew was there as children. We would be playing with dragons and unicorns and all kinds of things, and we were told that this was make-believe, and that really that should be reserved for children's stories and fairy tales that weren't real. But all of these things they're so powerful. They're speaking to a truth in ourselves that we've always known, but we have to just allow ourselves to really engage with it again. And this is where this amazing freedom comes. The creative flow comes in, the information we need. We can see what's really going on in the world. We can see through the illusions that have been created from the 4D timeline. That then whenever you see anything fearful, it's a projection. It's a projection of what someone wants to be created. At this point in time, we can only create if we choose to receive that image, decide it's real, and then we respond to it. And so you're actually filling in the timeline for the fourth dimensional agenda, which we don't even need to name, because it has such a powerful energy to it. It kind of will immediately lower the energy to even label it and to talk about what that is. But it's quite obvious what it is, because everyone's been living through it for the last year or so. So we know what that timeline is and what it looks like. And what's amazing is to see people getting to a point where they're like, oh, I'm still alive. Not, all these bad things haven't happened. They were going to make this thing that has to happen, but it's not happened. And but I have a lot more power. And I'm realizing that there's a sacred law and there's a common law out there that means that I can do whatever I want. And wait a second. I'm actually truly sovereign and I'm truly empowered. I just didn't know it. It's literally shifting the perspective and being like, I am actually free. All the things I've always wanted, all the things that we were told we didn't have, all the social justice fights that we were given to focus our energy on, to make the world a better place. All of that power is inside of us to create. It's effortless when you know how to, it's clean energy. You're using the right kind of energy, and it's joyful. And it's interesting because when we got this information through yesterday about what we were going to do in the podcast today, a piece of that information was we need to be looking after ourselves and healing. It's really important that we're spending time and investing in ourselves. This is how we elevate and how we really step into our joy, is to really invest and to self-care. And after we got that information, we had the option to do the podcast kind of quite soon after that point. But I received the feeling that I needed to just rest and look after myself. And I was in a lot of emotional pain. I mean, this is part of the 4D, 5D moving between the timelines, is that we're clearing this dense energy from our bodies, and so it can feel like we're going backwards, but we're really not. We're just processing, and really it's about your perspective. If you can find a way to shift your energy, as we were talking about before with the singing, you're just ever moving forward, and that's what we really want, is to be moving towards where we want to go. And so when I had that pain, I just stopped. I stopped everything I planned. I dropped all my plans. I sat under a tree, and I just sat with that energy. And the one thing that really shifted it was to actually do exactly what Michael suggested, is the visualization element, and not just with the brain, not just like, what does my brain think, but actually to feel something, to actually feel into what that reality feels like, because that's what I've learned activates your ability in your subconscious to then create that reality. And obviously, and sports stars do this all the time. Coaches have been doing this with their sports heroes and professional athletes for years, is that they know that they need to create the goal outcome and show them in a kind of multi-dimensional sensory way. What does it feel like to win? What am I doing? What's my body feeling like? What zone am I in? What are my thoughts and my feelings at the time, and how elevated they feel? And this is what gets them, their body, to really activate and get to the place that they want to, that they visualize for themselves. So I did this last night, and it's like the only thing that could clear the energy was not focusing on the pain, which my brain wanted to, because it was so distressing and distracting, but to actually be like, okay, but what's a really nice reality that I actually want? And I did it, and I immediately felt the energy just moving out of my system. And for me, it was like I literally lived that moment of choice between lower energetic experiences and higher ones. And I say this and also just preface it that it's not, I don't think that just because you experience difficult emotions you're on a lower timeline. I think that's, we have to be really careful not to be like, timeline apartheid. Like, you're in this timeline and you're in this timeline. Like, let's not get into that. That's spiritual ego and identity, and we don't want any of that stuff. That's not what we're here to do or to encourage. It really, this is just about the flow of evolution and just allowing it and finding a way to navigate with the flow. We don't have to control anything. We don't have to force anything. We don't have to judge anything. This is all the old paradigm that we're shifting out of. We just want to be in our heart spaces and just giving ourselves exactly what we need to be our best selves. So that's what I wanted to share about that experience. Michael, have you got anything else you wanted to share about that?
Yeah, when people talk about let's get back to normal, it's not going back to normal.
Yes.
What is normal?
Awesome.
What is normal? Never ever going back. You're not meant to be like that. That was never normal. That was never experiencing, is that what you thought was normal really wasn't. Most of it was illusionary. A lot of it was just like fear programs, a lot of programming from TV, from your childhood, from ancestors back in the day who would repeat certain languages and certain phrases, which would then trap you in the language as well. None of that. What you're seeing all of that changing. None of it's going to be about anymore. It's all changing, the whole lot. So there's no going back to normals. There's no new normals. There's no normal. There's no let's return back to how it was before COVID hit or anything like that. There's none of that. That doesn't exist at all. It's literally what you now want to create using your free will in the universe. What are you going to create now in your 5D paradigm? What's coming now for you? What's exciting? What excites you? What wakes you up in the morning? What lights you on fire in the morning, and makes you want to jump out of bed excited. And write all of that down. Get it all down and get it crystal clear in your mind. Visualize it happening now. Make sure that you're visualizing it happening right now and act as though it's already happened. There was a piece taken out of the Bible which actually completely agrees with this point. And it is, if you want a mountain to move, ask the mountain to move. Believe that it's already moved, and they're cutting things like this out of the Bible. And it's so important, really, that people are aware of exactly, how to do this and how to shift certain perspectives. And one way to do it is to believe you are already in that particular paradigm. You're already in that perspective. And straight away, everything shifts and you start focusing on that. All your energy is then spent, focusing on that as well. And what's really interesting is that we're now seeing people who don't want to eat GMO foods anymore. They're looking at labels in the supermarket and they're just you can see some people are just staring at the labels. People that you'd never, ever expect ever to be that health conscious are now really conscious about what's in their food supply, what's in their tap water, and everything like this. Now, the reason why it looks as though things are like getting worse for certain people, and the reason is because you're so attached to that, what you think is normal life. That's not normal. You're not meant to drink poisons. You're not meant to eat poisons. You know, you're not meant to be jabbed with poisons either, just for that matter. But at the same time, you have to realize that the reason that is being revealed to you is so you can do something about it. It's not just being revealed to you so you can say, oh, really? That's really what we went through? We had to go through all of that and we're still here? How amazing is that? How amazing is it that you're still here? Those 95% of those fear thoughts that you had just haven't came true. Learn by that. Realize that all of these thoughts that are going in your head, these fear thoughts, are not happening. None of them are happening. You know, it's very, very few amounts do. So what you should do is shift your thoughts and start focusing on things that you do want to happen in your life. And what you'll see is it'll quickly come about. And when you think about what you focus on grows, that's true. But also think about it as well in the terms of the fact that that you have to believe that you're already at the point you want to be at as well, you know. And I don't mean to say, oh, you've got to fake it till you make it, that sort of thing. I don't mean that sort of rubbish at all. What I mean is you have to feel in your soul that you are at a point where you want to be, that you're at peace with where you want to be, that if you want to join any tribes, particularly, you know, like if you want to do your own organic growing of fruit and vegetables and you want to get yourself an allotment or a patch that you want to do that, or if you want to do some off-grid living, if that's what really resonates with your soul, go and find out about it. Go and do it. Because I can tell you there's more people than ever who are sharing that exact same thought pattern as well. They do not want to be controlled anymore by supermarkets. They don't want to be controlled by TV, by these fake politicians, you know, by these illegal governments and corporations, because that's what they are. They're actually illegal and they're corporations. You know, they're not actually elected by the people at all. And the people are now realizing that. They're all standing up. They're all overthrowing them. This is all part of where we're going, you know. When you look back at what we've actually been through, it's incredible. But realize you're still here, you know. You're still here. All of those things you thought was going to happen haven't happened. You know, you're stronger than ever. Learn from it. And let's see what you can create in this 5D paradigm. Because I can tell you, honestly, there's no new normal.
So true. I just wanted to share that I had to just mute my mic because there was someone sawing something right next to my house. So honestly, and then I also have just had to on the podcast edit, you will not have heard that I had to also answer the door because someone was ringing it. So oh, there we go. There it is again. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know.
Unbelievable. Someone, the dark beings do not want this podcast
out there. They really don't want people happy. They don't. We really are living in the matrix, aren't we? This is the matrix.
We really are. And honestly, I can tell you as well, Katie, that they don't want this to happen. They don't want to bring it about because what they thought, and they're completely wrong, they thought we were going from 3D to 4D, which is an artificial representation of 3D. That they were going to be able to create and program people into as kind of inorganic slave bots. That's what they've acted. And when you look at everything, the way everything is panned out and the information that's been coming through, all of it aligns with that. That's exactly what their agenda was. And what's going to really, and already is now, what's really going to surprise them is that we're not going to 4D. We're going to 5 and we're already here and they can't handle it. And it's everything around them is being destroyed, you know, around them. All of their life that they thought was going to be created into this 4D artificial reality of 3D that they're going to try and bring everyone in as these kind of slaves, as these transhumans. And, you know, that was their agenda. It's just not going to happen. And they're realizing it. They're realizing it more and more. And it's great. It's great to see because they haven't succeeded with their evil plan and they never will.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard that I received yesterday an intuitive insight that they were that's why there's a source of chaos in Afghanistan at the moment, because the dark forces have kind of been that's been there, but they've gone there, that's their base, and they are fleeing now because they don't have any power anymore, because we are more powerful. That's what people don't realize, is we're so powerful. We're so much more powerful than any of these beings. The fact is that the darker elite forces that are behind all of this, they're very weak. They're very, very weak. They have to try and control vast numbers of beings who will have a higher capacity for creativity and dimensionality than them to be able to create anything. And when they do create, they don't create, they destroy. So actually they are very, very weak. And, so we can celebrate, we can just be like, oh, this is just a joke, it's done, which is brilliant. So I'm just receiving that that it would be really helpful to give some preparation tips for how to move into the 5D reality that we're beginning to discuss, the kind of the wider dimensions of it, and how it looks for people and how it feels to live in that space. So would you like to, should we tune in and share what we get about that? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll do some space-time travel into the 5th dimensional frequency and beyond. And and we'll share what we get with you in a second. Okay, so we've done our time travel and we're back. So Michael, would you like to share what you got first about what we need to prepare to step into the 5D?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is that the 5D is already here, and you need to look for evidence of that, because there's lots of different changes that you'll notice. For example, we've got the sun shining on for longer during the day. You could have different birds that you may have spotted out in your garden. You may spot different colors of things. You may spot a different richness in something. You may spot different languages used by certain people. You may spot butterflies. You may spot more insects. You may spot different things like that. But what I want you to do is, as soon as you see something which you think is a 5D thing, then what I want you to do is make a note of it, write it down, and do it every single day, which will help show you that we've actually moved and shifted perspective into 5D now. So just make a note every time you see something. It could be something like a bird out in your garden. You think, I've never seen that bird before. That's odd. Or it could be that, wow, I feel as though colors seem a lot brighter all of a sudden. Or it could be that you see more flowers around, especially in September, which is quite unusual. So you'll know that that's obviously 5D is here. And what I want you to do is make a note of them and then total them up each day. Now, what you'll notice happen is absolutely amazing. It's fantastic. What you'll see is every day you're going to see more 5D phenomenons, and different things for you to actually pay attention to. And the more you write down, the more that you believe it, the more you'll see. So a lot of people say, I'll believe it when I see it. But actually, what it should be is you'll see it when you believe it. So you have to believe in it first for you to start seeing it. And that's the difference. And this is where this trick of language has came in so many things, because they've tricked us on so many areas of our life through language. So many ones, things like common law instead of corporation laws. There's so many different things, that we can mention maybe in the future podcast in regards to language, because we need to start realizing that we are living beings, creative beings. They cannot create anything, and they're using language to trap us into certain things. We have to be evident of this, and we have to note it in order to actually change and to be able to identify it, and then be able to see it, and then we can move on from it, and use it to our advantage, not letting it trap us, not letting it trap our souls because of this language that they're using in so many different ways. We just have to rise above it, and we have to realize, they can say what they want, but it's not going to change us. We are very powerful, creative beings, as Katie said earlier. And once you see evidence everywhere of 5D being here, it's going to make you so much happier. It's going to make you just going to be like, wow, it's actually here. It's going to fill you with confidence, which is really important right now. Because I get a lot of people asking me, why we're still getting all this destruction? Why we're all seeing all this timeline collapse and everything like that? Well, we're seeing it collapse because as it's collapsing, we're bringing in more 5D things is coming in as more 3D things are collapsing. And that's the best way to explain it. But what you need to do is see that it's self-evident to yourself so that you create confidence and you know what we're saying is true, and that you know that the 5D timeline or the 5D reality or the 5D consciousness, if you like, is all here now. It's all here now. We're not something we're waiting for anymore. It's already here. It exists right now, and you can be part of it. So make a note of everything that you see, that you think is associated with 5D. Make a note of it, and you'll see more and more of them. And it'd be great if you shared them with us as well. We would love that, wouldn't we, Katie?
Yeah. So what's the best way for people to share it with us, Michael?
The best way to share it with us is either on our Telegram group, which is Magic Nutrients, or you could go on to our website, www.magicnutrients.co.uk, or you could send us an email at support@magicnutrients.co.uk, and either myself or Katie or one of the team will get back to you as soon as possible in regards to it. But we love to hear from you. We really do. You are creating this 5D reality, and we love to hear from you. Awesome. So we look forward to hearing your messages.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, we're all about tribe, aren't we, Michael? We just know that we're in this together, and when we raise our frequency together, we do it faster. So that's what the 5D is about, is collective consciousness and learning. So I wanted to respond to some of the things you said. It was really cool. The 4D beings that have been trying to control us. What we need to remember is that we have free will, which is our sovereignty. So it's the highest power that we have. And so the only thing that these dark elite forces can do is actually convince you that you don't have it. Like the only power they have is manipulation. They have to use manipulation of your perspective, of your consciousness, to actually make any of their reality that they want to happen. So when people share stuff like, oh, they're gonna do this in September, or they're gonna do this in December, look at what they're planning, it's like, okay, but you see, people can make plans, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen unless you go along with it, you see. So it's really important to remember that it's all of it's an illusion. It's all a manipulation. And if you know you have free will, if every single human woke up tomorrow and remembered and realized they had free will, the whole 4D timeline would collapse, because it's predicated on being manipulated and controlled by a small group of individuals who are playing the 4D chess game of manipulating the laws of the universe for their own selfish benefit. So really, this is our best way of getting out of this and moving into what we want, is just stepping into what we want and being in our free will. So all of these tips that Michael shared is really helpful for that, because this is helping us to elevate and move in that direction that we want to go in. The other thing about this, we've spoken about this before, haven't we, Michael, about how we found it, well, let me first just say what I received, which is related to this, which is I got the words laughter lines of the soul. So we are going to laugh our way out of this. This is how we get into the 5D. You've got the image of the laughing Buddha. The elevated energy is always coming from a place of lightness and humor, because that's the truth. It's a detachment that we can have about what's been going on. That means it's not so serious. It's not so bad. It's okay. We can detach from this. And this is very healing for us. And it helps our hearts to heal where we've been in a kind of traumatized, triggered state in the lower dimensions. And we free ourselves and we free our souls to fly like birds, and that's what laughter can give to us. It's a really healing tonic. And there are people out there who are doing great light work with humor. And this is really helping people to shift out of this lower dimensional fear into the higher. And so this is going to be an important way of us really beginning to deal with this. So for me personally, my philosophy is, if I look at the 4D stuff, which obviously we're going to, and it's going to be shared by people, and it can be interesting and useful to watch what's going on. It's a bit like looking at the weather. It's like, what's happening today? And the weather forecast are crazy. That can be helpful too. But I kind of enjoy doing mine through humor and just watching what the weirdest thing is that's happened on the 4D timeline that people are trying to do. I was really appreciating, I was laughing with Michael about this yesterday. We were like watching this. I don't know if Michael saw it, but I was telling him about how I saw I generally just avoid any of the weirdo leaders of the earth who are trying to convince us that they have power and they're trying to do what they're doing. And I saw Justin Trudeau, or Justin Castro, as he's called by some people, being pelted by stones by Canadians. He was trying to do like a visit to a local area, and he had to like run back onto his like Politico bus or something to get away from it. And I've never seen Canadians so annoyed in my life, and these people do not get angry easily. These are some of the happiest, politest people in the world. So if they're pelting their leader with stones, not that I condone violence, but if they're literally truly expressing their anger, this is quite a moment in history. And you've got to, that's an amazing sign that we are shifting. That's an amazing sign that if the Canadians are revolting, this means that Earth is completely transformed. So this is the way that I like to look at these things. It's a good way to kind of just lighten it and just be like, okay, then let's just laugh about it and carry on regardless, you know. So there was the laughter element, which I think is really important and good. And then I also got connected to this, releasing fear. And it's really interesting. What I got was that there is actually a fear of being one with the creator within us, and this is just completely standard. I have to work through things myself sometimes. Like with this, I've had to clear blocks around it. A lot of us have had past life experiences or traumas that have made us feel like we're separate from God, or we don't deserve to be connected to the creator, or to, you know, to our own higher self. So we block it off, or we use addictions and things to cope with reality that don't really help us heal our true connection to source and to our creator self. So I got that we need to actually start noting when we have fear around connecting to the oneness with the creator. And I was like, okay, so what does this look like? How do we know when this is happening? So the way it looks is that we're avoiding ourself. It's a sense of self-avoidance where we don't spend time with ourselves. We don't commit to connecting to ourselves. And we create patterns of self-isolation and abandonment, emotional abandonment. And loneliness is the emotion that can tell us, and that's the indicator that that's what's going on for us. So we need to really truly own our personal power. That's how we step into this connection with the creator, and this is how we're going to move into the fifth dimension. Because in the fifth dimension, we all know that God is there. It's no longer a debate. It's no longer a discussion. No one can manipulate you with scientific facts or angry outbursts of this is just rubbish and we should be beyond this by now. It's no longer even a question. It's just something that every conscious being is aware that this is a reality, which is actually amazing, that we're in a sacred space. And it's so beautiful to know that we are held with that loving truth and that higher reality and meaning, because without it, we live in a pretty nihilistic world, don't we? And we're not really connected to our multidimensional self, which is divine and sacred. So we're reclaiming that. We're recognizing that. We're working to connect with that through self-awareness. We're bringing in wisdom codes when we do this. We receive wisdom and information that helps us to elevate our consciousness. And it allows subtle shifts of energy in our energy field to enable us to connect with the divine and to make contact with the divine in ourselves. So that was what I got. And there was just two more things that were connected to it. We really need to trust in the forces of light that are helping us and holding space for us, and in that lighter reality we need to trust it's there, because sometimes we think we know it consciously, but we don't know it in our hearts because we've got a lot of fear that we're dealing with. So we need to really just start to build our faith and our confidence, maybe even just putting your hand on your heart and reminding yourself of your heart, you know, just, oh, this is my home, this is where I am. Be in the heart, you know, speak to your heart, ask the heart what it needs. I dialogue with my heart. I sing to my heart sometimes. I'm like, what do you want me to know? And it's like, I'm feeling lonely. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. And I have a little musical dialogue. And although it sounds absolutely crazy and wacky, the heart speaks in poem and poetry and lyric, and it's amazing how that moves the energy through your body, and you start to voice the truth of your heart and you know it more. So that's really helpful. So it's really important for us to know this. As the old is falling away, we need to know that we are held. It's not like we're jumping off a cliff, we're just flying. we're leaving an old land and we're flying to this new realm, and we're already able to be in this realm and create it. And so, and just knowing that the future is bright, it's all good. Let's focus on that. This is the truth. This is the reality. And connected to this, an example of this is that Michael and I were talking about, a lot of people are freaked out about like institutions crumbling and dying, things that a lot of people are fighting for the rights to get what they want from institutions like education institutions or health institutions that are like, that have been the bastion of our society for the last 100 years or whatever, longer. And actually, if it's crumbling, I think we need to let it. I think it's happening for a reason. And the great thing is that all those people that are involved in that institution are free to step into a new one and to create a new one that reflects the energy of the 5D consciousness. And it kind of needs to happen. It's part of the process of rebirth of our society. Things need to die. And you can stay with the old and you can fight for it, and you can, go for it and put all your energy into fighting and resisting something. But at some point, we can also get to a point where we're like, oh, maybe I just want to create what I want. And oh, look, there are all these people that want to create the same thing, as Michael said, finding tribes of people who want to set up homeschooling and whatever it is that's going to solve it and actually be the positive focus of the polarity rather than the negative. That's really what we want to be going towards. So, and as Michael said, really like look for what you want. And when you expect it, you'll see it more as well. So if you're seeing magical butterflies around the place, be like, oh, wow, magical butterfly, 5D energy, signs, synchronicities, whatever it is that helps you feel connected to that flow state, that's going to be helping to assist you to know that you're on the right track. And, it just reminds me of what Mike was saying about that is gratitude. When we sit in a place of gratitude, and it's good for me to remember this because we can always be more grateful. I need to always practice this stuff myself. So I'm glad that this has come up. When you look at what you've already got, when you look at what's already happening for you positively, there's so much. You have food, if you don't have food, someone's given you food. If you have money to do the things you need to do, you have free resources coming to you. If you don't have that money, you have friends, you have connections, you have relatives, you have loved ones, you have passion, hobbies, you have the work you do, you have work you want to do that you're starting to do. That when you start to look at what you have, you're so full. You're living in a state of abundance, which is the energy of the fifth dimension. It's abundance, not lack mentality, which is where we've been coming from. That was the old system. The old economic system was everything is debt and lack and fear, and I've got to get more, it's not enough. So it's shifting into a place of I'm abundant and I'm connected to God and source, so therefore I can bring in more abundance if I need it. It's nothing to fear. We can really just step into our faith with this new reality, which is already here. So those are some thoughts on that topic. So anything else to share just to wrap it up, Michael?
Yeah, just what you said about laughter, laughter being the heart of the soul, really. I think it's amazing. Again, that can help you raise your vibration. But if you're going to choose any country at all that would be the friendliest country in the world, in my opinion, I've been fortunate enough to have been to Canada 3 times now in my life. I've been to Toronto a few times. I've been to Vancouver, and they're the friendliest people in the world. Honestly, they absolutely are. And if you're going to pick, if you want to laugh at something, if you're going to pick any nation or any country at all to actually, to start standing up and to start protesting in quite an angry manner as well, when they're throwing stones at Trudeau or Castro, as you mentioned, Katie, it's. Honestly, you would never expect Canada to be that one. That's just showing you that we're in this matrix, because to get the Canadians to do that is absolutely unbelievable. Literally, you couldn't choose a country friendlier, in my opinion, than Canada. When I was there, I asked a Canadian on directions to the hotel where I was staying, and he practically drove me to the actual hotel itself. This is how friendly these Canadians are. You give me that many directions and exactly where to go. It was just unbelievable. I've never seen anyone take that much time out of their day just to spend on finding a hotel for me, which is just incredible. So these people are amazing. The Canadians, they're loving people. They're very friendly people, but they know when something's not right, they're going to stand up and they're going to say it. So it's amazing. So laughter absolutely being the answer, without a doubt. But it just shows you that laughter really is the heart of the soul. It really does help create a way out of any situation, helps with your vibration, helps you feel that you're living in your truth as well, you know, Katie. So yeah, just thought I'd share that on that part on laughter.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael, and thank you for today. It's been really fun to podcast with you, as always. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
You're welcome. Loved it. It's been a great show.
It's been a great show. We've really enjoyed it. And so I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's come to watch or is listening on Spotify and other places on the audio version of this podcast. And yeah, we're going to look forward to sharing more interesting and fun content on our ascension journey to the fifth dimension and beyond. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll look forward to having you back again soon.
When I was actually part of X Factor, which I don't know if many people knew about, I actually seen behind the scenes what was going on.